What is amateur ham radio? The scouting version. Take this slideshow home with you by following this link, tiny.cc/what-ar2, or simply scan the QR code. This will be available throughout the presentation, so get your phone ready if you want to scan the QR code. The key difference between amateur radio and commercial radio is amateur radio is two-way communications, not just receiving, listening to radio, but also ability to send or transmit radio signals. Amateur radio requires a federal license from the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, but the license has no age limit. The question pool and the answers are published and readily available to study. Classes are readily available both online and in person.
From Golf Bravo 90, I can talk to people all over the world.
CQ.
Listening for any other stations on the Monday Night Net.
Amateur radio is a hobby with a difference. It's a technical hobby that lets you exchange messages with millions of amateur radio operators all around the world.
Thanks for the call. This is Golf 2 X-Ray Victor.
There are so many aspects to the hobby. Technical experimentation, the opportunity to work at special event field days, and even the chance to send messages via satellite and the International Space Station.
I do invite those that have amateur radio stations to contact the space station. We have equipment and people that can operate it.
Are you ready to take up the challenge and talk to me using the amateur radio from space?
Golf Bravo 1 Sierra, how copy? Over.
Great to hear you, Tim. Are you ready for your first question? Over.
Call sign is GB5OR, commemorating 5 decades of offshore radio.
Yeah, I'm a critical care paramedic here. I'm on with Nicky, who's our pilot today.
You're doing a grand job with the air ambulance.
You can still operate amateur radio and use it for disaster efforts because it doesn't need the mobile phone infrastructure and landlines.
There are so many people here. It's a really nice atmosphere.
Above all, amateur radio is about making friends, around the corner and around the world.
Again, scan the QR code and take this presentation home with you. Who can I communicate with amateur radio? Hams can contact any other ham worldwide. Adults and kids, famous and not so famous, local or worldwide communications.
He has spoken to China, Russia,
Здравствуйте. Как дела?
and all over Europe. To scientists and world leaders, he's brought help in disasters.
Control, we have a 911 situation with the people trapped in the hospital.
And smiles to children. And he's never left home. He's a radio ham.
Famous hams include musicians Joe Walsh, Lance Bass from NSYNC, Ronnie Millsap, Sir Mix-a-Lot, Patty Loveless, and Michael Sachs from the Cleveland Orchestra. Actors Tim Allen from Last Man Standing, Charleston Heston, Marlon Brando, and dozens of astronauts. Nobel Prize winners including Jay Taylor, the inventor of the WSJTX data mode. Others include presidents, kings, the Apple co-founder Stephen Woz, and Harvard University presidents. Where can I communicate with amateur radio? There are different types of amateur radio. VHF, UHF, handheld radios can talk across town or regionally. An HF radio or high-frequency radio can talk around the world, all 50 states, over 300 countries. We can even go into space with amateur radio satellites in orbit, astronauts on the space station, and even bounce signals from Earth off the moon and back to Earth again. What modes can you communicate with? Modes include voice, Morse code, also known as CW, which is very similar to texting, data, where we can transfer files, maps, etc., images, whether pictures or videos, and remotely controlled devices such as drones, model airplanes, etc. How much equipment do I need and how much will it cost? It depends on the type of activity you want to get involved with. HF radios are less than many new laptops, a bicycle, or other sporting or hobby equipment. Used equipment is also available. VHF, UHF, around town and regional communication can be done with a simple handheld transceiver, also known as an HT, that can even be purchased new for less than $30. HF, or high frequency, for statewide, national, and worldwide communications can run between $500 and $2,500 new, $250 to $1,200 used, and you can even start with a very simple wire antenna under $75.
We live in an age of amazing technology. But for some people, just being a consumer of off-the-shelf gadgets isn't enough. If you're bored with this and looking for something more exciting, why not take a trip around the world at the speed of light?
Delta Kilo 8 Lima Golf, this is Mike X-Ray 0 Sierra Sierra Whiskey. Okay, thank you Frank for coming back to my QRZ call. My name is Adam, as in Alpha Delta Alpha Mike, Alpha Delta Alpha Mike, Adam is my name.
We all love to communicate. Amateur radio takes you beyond being a mere gadget user. It challenges you by putting you in charge of the technology.
The bit that always interested me in the amateur radio was always the construction. One of the big things I've been interested in constructing is using the Raspberry Pi in amateur radio, because as a small single board computer it has a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities.
So we're building a radio receiver.
Okay.
And so I'm just on the part which is the demodulator.
This is a hobby with hundreds of different ways to have techie fun. Using this simple ham radio transceiver and a good antenna, you can talk to other amateurs around the world, and you can do it from almost anywhere.
I'm at a portable station.
The radio signals you transmit travel around the world at the speed of light. No internet connection or mobile phone signals are needed. Just your own skills as a radio ham.
I'm 11 years old and I'm about to do the foundation licence here in England, over.
I got into amateur radio really to get a greater understanding of technology. I spend so much time on my phone, on laptops, and really have no idea how any of it works. It was a really welcoming experience for me, a really great community, and really easy to actually do. In disaster situations, when normal communications are out of action, amateur radio still gets the message through, which is why many hams belong to organisations that train their members to provide emergency radio links when needed.
I like the practicality of being able to send a message and know how to get something out to someone under your own steam, so kind of making it yourself. And I'm very interested in being able to do the electronics, being able to build things, being able to be self-reliant in communication. I think that's really interesting.
It's great fun talking to other hams in unusual and sometimes exotic places around the world. And beyond. The International Space Station carries ham radio gear on board, and there's always licensed amateurs among the crew to use it, such as Commander Doug Wheelock.
I've really enjoyed using the ham radio and talking to ham radio operators all over the world.
Radio amateurs around the world also build and launch their own satellites, and hams anywhere can use them for space communication experiments, and of course to chat to each other.
Golf 1 X-Ray India Echo.
Golf 1 X-Ray India Echo, Golf Bravo 1 Yankee Oscar Tango America. Afternoon, 5 and 9. We're using SO50, which is an FM transponder satellite, which was going over from about west to north, around 70 degrees elevation.
When computers and radios come together, there's a whole bunch of new opportunities for hams to connect by radio, sending text, transmitting pictures or real-time video, even displaying data from an amateur radio satellite orbiting the Earth.
Mike 6 November Yankee.
Interesting aspect of amateur radio is that you do learn how it works, and you get to communicate with loads of different people, find out about different areas of the world. You learn a bit more about the science of how it works, and you have a much more profound understanding of a technology that is going on all around you.
In amateur radio, sport and radio fit together well too.
I'll take another bearing in a minute because I don't trust that.
These guys are trying to locate hidden radio transmitters. racing against each other and the clock. Amateur radio is a fantastic hobby for anybody who loves technology. I've only really been involved in the hobby for a really short amount of time, and I've been speaking to people all across the world. It's a really inviting community. One minute you're speaking to somebody about amateur radio and it leads on to so many other discussions about other different technologies you may not have even thought of. So if you do get a chance, come and join us.
Again, you can take this slideshow home with you by scanning the QR code. But what if you don't have equipment to operate amateur radio? Local clubs may have an operating station and antenna, similar to the one here at Camp Manitowoc. Portable operating opportunities are available in many cases. Guest at another ham's local station. Or just for listening, there are free online software-defined radios. Here's information on that at tiny.cc/freerx that'll allow you to listen using stations around the world for free via your computer, your phone, or your tablet.
Okay, well this is antenna 1.
This is an example of using one of these free online receivers. Again, remember at tiny.cc/freerx.
Kilo Zero Echo. Kansas 240. Whiskey 6. Tango. Kilo Echo 3, Zulu Tango 59, Jackson County. Juliet Alpha.
So what is amateur radio, the scouting version? It can include activity in a variety of merit badges. Of course, radio merit badge is the first one you would think of, but also electronics, electricity, digital communication, digital technology, signals, signs, and codes all can utilize amateur radio as part of the requirements. What if I want to learn more? The ARRL is the U.S. National Amateur Radio Association, and you can click on the link in this presentation. You can also visit my personal website at k8zt.com, or you can email me. There is also free classes available in the area. The Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club sponsors free online licensing classes, and the next class starts on October 8th. If you're interested, you can follow this link or ask one of the hams that are here today doing the demonstration. Again, take this slideshow home with you at tiny.cc/what-ar2 or scan the QR code.